Ever since I got involved in the SaaS industry, I've been in love with micro SaaS businesses. What's not to love about them? Micro SaaS businesses are relatively easy to build. Micro SaaS businesses don't need a huge team to maintain them. In fact, micro SaaS businesses don't even need a sales team. On top of that, micro SaaS businesses can compound in recurring revenues and grow to be wildly profitable. Here's a big question though. How do you actually build the right type of micro SaaS business? What makes for a really great micro SaaS business versus just a bad idea? In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know to develop your micro SaaS idea and turn it into a profitable business. And when you follow these principles, you'll actually know how to skip a bunch of mistakes that I personally made so you can actually accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, if you're a customer of one of my SaaS products, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Ooh, that hurt a little bit. Back when I started my last SaaS business, ToutApp, it started with the intention of actually creating a micro SaaS business. I was working to quit my finance job, get financial freedom, not have a boss anymore. So I wanted to create a micro SaaS business that would turn into passive income so I can go do whatever I want. Well, the universe had different plans for me. ToutApp ended up tapping into a massive problem. We amassed 100,000 users. We raised from the likes of Andreessen Horowitz, and then we sold to a market leader called Marketo. Fast forward to today, I've coached over 500 SaaS founders on how to apply the principles that I've learned to actually grow their SaaS businesses. Fast forward to today, I actually operate 2 SaaS companies that are actively scaling. But also along the way, I wanted to set up myself for a challenge. So I actually built a micro SaaS business with my co-founder to actually get our feet wet on coding again and to actually get revenues flowing and just to see what it's like to start from scratch. This is before the new SaaS company started. Along the way, I learned a ton about what makes for successful SaaS businesses, successful micro SaaS businesses, and the steps to follow to actually make sure you don't waste time building the wrong product. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that I learned on how to actually develop your own micro SaaS business. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And let's go to principle number 1. For those of you that are wondering, the micro SaaS product that runs today that I developed along the way that I don't really put much time into, but it just runs, it generates about $200 a month of pure profit because it barely costs us anything to run and we don't put much effort into it every single month. And so that's kind of where it landed. And then we started pursuing bigger opportunities. But at this point, that micro SaaS just runs and it just generates new users and new revenues, and it just kind of goes from there. For those of you that are wondering, the micro SaaS business that I built along the way with my co-founder is called Sunday. You can check it out at unstoppablesunday.com. Here's a screenshot of the homepage right over here. It's a simple tool. It's specifically designed for high-performing people, and it helps them get focused and actually pause and reflect every single week and every single month and every single day to execute at an unstoppable motion. It's a super simple tool. And we charge about $10 to $30 a month, depending on which plan that you go for. So in order to actually build this out, we followed some specific steps to make sure we didn't waste months building the wrong product. And also we really wanted to get our feet wet on coding again because I hadn't coded in like 2 to 3 years when I first started building and working on this. So principle number 1, the first thing we did when developing our micro SaaS offering, and every single time I started any sort of SaaS offering, is really focus on market. But specifically for a micro SaaS product, we wanted to make sure we go after a very niche market. Micro SaaS companies are very focused companies. So instead of focusing on an entire workflow, which traditional SaaS companies try to do, what you really want to be focusing on is a specific task that your tool can actually solve for. And what you also want to be doing is making sure that task is solving some sort of an urgent and important problem that this niche market has. Now, in our case, the micro SaaS company that we started is called Sunday. You can check it out at unstoppablesunday.com. Here's a screenshot of the actual homepage, and here's a screenshot of the actual application. It's a super simple tool for a very specific market. It's focused specifically for high-performing entrepreneurs, and I was basically building the tool for myself, but I also wanted to validate the market. It also solves an urgent and important problem. entrepreneurs tend to lack focus. They don't really know how to get focused and execute on the top 3 things they need to do every day. So we have a daily Pomodoro timer and an actual task tab to figure out what are the 3 things you're gonna get done today. Entrepreneurs also beat themselves up. Even though they make progress on their goals, they keep moving the goalposts forward, and then they think that they're actually losing when in fact they've come a long way. So we have specific features to pause and reflect every single week and every single month so they can actually express gratitude on their progress and then go back to relentless execution on a daily basis. Super simple tool. But the problem that entrepreneurs have is they actually really struggle with ADHD, focus, procrastination, when they know they have a set of things they really need to get done. So that's kind of the urgent problem we started to focus on for a very specific niche market of entrepreneurs. And what we wanted to do was offer a 10x solution. There are plenty of to-do lists out there. There are plenty of courses out there, but there wasn't anything that really used software to guide people in getting focused and to plan every single week and every single month and every single day. And so that's essentially the 10x solution that we built. So that's the approach that we took. Now, when you're thinking about your micro SaaS idea and you're honing in on your micro SaaS idea, these are the 3 questions you want to consistently be asking. Are you solving for a specific task? In our case, it was how do we actually get you to plan and execute on a daily basis? Are you solving an urgent, important problem? Procrastination is a huge problem with entrepreneurs. And can you offer a 10x solution? And we felt that, yeah, we can totally offer a totally 10x solution to solve this kind of problem. So that's the first principle that we followed. You want to make sure you're going after a niche market. Now, the second principle we followed is not actually build a product. Even though my co-founder is a technical founder and we both coded, we wanted to make sure we didn't build a product right away. So the second principle we followed was to actually build out version 0 of our go-to-market machine. If you've seen any of my other SaaS videos about starting a SaaS company, this principle is borrowed from that. So regardless of whether you're starting a micro SaaS business or a SaaS business, if you want to avoid wasting months of building the wrong product, you want to make sure you start with your go-to-market before you build your product. So the first thing you do is market, and then you get into go-to-market. Now, specifically for go-to-market, I did 3 things. The first thing I did is I built an audience of entrepreneurs. And as I built that audience, I created a lead magnet. So every single time I posted content, whether it was on YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn, I made sure I connected with entrepreneurs because that's who I was essentially building this product for. And every single time I would post content about procrastination, about burnout, about being proactive in their lives. And every single time I would actually link to a lead magnet. Specifically for this application that we built Unstoppable Life Planning Guide. So if you've seen any of my really old videos, like I'm talking like baby TK in YouTube, those are the videos where we actually promoted this lead magnet, and we still generate leads from that today, but I also did it in Twitter and LinkedIn. You don't have to start a YouTube channel. But the biggest thing here is we started to build an audience of these entrepreneurs and offered a lead magnet, and we turned that lead magnet into a mailing list of people that we could email as we started to develop our offering and develop our product. And you'll notice none of these 2 steps had anything to do with building the product. What we really wanted to do is first make sure we have a specific market, and we actually got to validating the problem that we thought existed. And as the content started to do well, as the leads started to flow in, we started to recognize like, okay, this is a real problem. We can actually sell something to them. And we started to actually focus on selling them and building the product. So that's when principle number 3 comes. Now, when it comes to a micro SaaS business, there's some specific principles you want to follow on what makes a successful micro SaaS product. We learned this the hard way. Before we get into that, let me just pause here for a second. Let me start seeing the power in this. The power in this is micro SaaS businesses are incredible, but the rules still apply on a successful SaaS company, which means that you want to make sure you're going after a specific market and you are actually validating the problem that you are solving. That's how you really hone in on your idea and validate it before you waste months building the wrong product. There's 2 other things that's really cool about this. 1, as you are doing this, even if you start with a micro SaaS idea, like I did with my last company, ToutApp, micro SaaS ideas can very quickly turn into massive SaaS ideas as well, as you really understand what's going on in the market. That's what happened with ToutApp. In the case of Sunday, it still stayed as a micro SaaS idea, and quite honestly, we saw bigger opportunities to put our time into, which is why we started focusing on Megaphone, which is what me and my co-founder spent a lot of time on. But at the same time, we just let it run. And right now it just continues to make money, continues to delight users, and actually new people sign up for it all the time and convert. And at some point, we may have some extra resources to put more into it so we can actually scale the go-to-market, but it just works and prints money for us, which is really amazing. So the power in this is to make sure you're going after a very specific market and you're actually building an audience with that market to really validate your idea and the problem you're solving. Best case scenario, you actually end up with a successful micro SaaS product that just prints money. An even better scenario, you will actually build a complete SaaS offering because you'll understand so much about the target market and they'll highlight the even bigger problems that you should be solving. In the absolute worst case scenario, you save yourself from wasting months building the wrong product. That's the power in this 3-step framework. Now we're gonna go into principle number 3, but if you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And honestly, so do we. We put a lot of love into these videos. Also, if you're in this stage where you're building out your idea, if you're starting to hone in on what's my idea, what's my micro SaaS business, if you're starting to think about how to actually build an audience so you can validate it, this is why I created my SaaS Launch Challenge. It's a completely self-directed course, step by step. It's what I follow every single time I'm starting SaaS companies, even today. And it will teach you how to apply these principles. You don't have to go anywhere right now. We're gonna go into principle number 3. I'll link to it below and I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. But let's go to principle number 3 right now. Now, principle number 3 is product, finally. But you also want to understand what's unique about a micro SaaS product. Having built micro SaaS products and SaaS products, having seen the difference, having started a micro SaaS product that graduated to a SaaS product, I've seen some patterns on what makes for a successful micro SaaS offering. There's some key things you want to make sure you have. The first thing you want to have is you want to make sure it's self-service. Micro SaaS businesses are meant to be little tools that people can start using. So they don't really want to talk to sales, and nor can you afford to have salespeople. Remember, micro SaaS business, the whole point of these are they're asset light, meaning you don't need a lot of employees, they're high margin, they're recurring revenue, they're wildly profitable, and they just run on their own, and it's a simple tool, so it doesn't require a huge amount of maintenance. That's what you want for these. So you want to make sure that you have a self-service offering, no salespeople are involved. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that there is an actual free trial. Meaning that people don't really know, they can't talk to someone to ask all the questions, so you want to de-risk it for them. So you want to make sure they can start a free trial. Whether it's a 7-day trial, a 14-day trial, or a 30-day trial, it's up to you. The third thing is you want to make sure you charge money. I don't really believe in freemium offerings because it gets a bunch of freebie seekers. You want to offer them a free trial, but you want to make it clear that it costs money. And the sweet spot I found for micro SaaS is $30 per month. $30 per month makes it where you can get users. You actually hold yourself to a bar where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna charge them $30 a month, but I wanna make sure I give them at least $300 of value. You wanna give them a 10x ROI. Also, $30 a month, you can describe it as it's just $1 a day. So if you're not adding $1 a day of value or $10 a day of value, then this product's not good enough. So it's a good bar to hit. Also, that also means with $30 a month, it can compound pretty quickly and you can take the profits and invest it into marketing if you want to continue to scale it using your profits. And the last piece is you want to make sure that there's a single player mode, meaning you want to make sure it's very easy to start that trial and start to get to an aha moment in the product as quickly as possible. This means that you shouldn't have to invite a bunch of other people to get value from the product. There should be a little tour that guides them through how to use the product. There should be a very quick way for them to get to an aha moment where they're like, oh my God, this is cool, I want to keep using it. And you want to make sure that they keep coming back to it. There's a daily use case. These are all little things that make for a more successful micro SaaS product. And that will make sure that by the time that you're reaching out to your audience and saying, hey, here's a solution to my problem, they'll be like, oh my God, I want it, but also they'll be able to get into the product without any risk, get value, and then they'll convert to paid, and hopefully they'll stay from there as well. And that's the power in this. Okay, so those are the 3 principles that I learned in building micro SaaS companies. My last company, ToutApp, started off as micro SaaS and then it graduated to a full SaaS. Sunday, we started as a micro SaaS and we just let it run right now, and it generates $200 a month, which is really cool. And on top of that, we can always take those profits and feed it into our go-to-market machine and scale it. But honestly, we just have other companies that we're focused on right now, so we just let it run. But also at the same time, it can eventually turn into something bigger as well. If we decide to focus on it or we exit it out to another person that wants to buy it and they want to grow it, these essentially become assets that grow and compound, which is the power of micro SaaS companies. So let's recap. Principle number 1, you want to make sure you're going after a niche market for your micro SaaS. Principle number 2, before you build a product, you want to build out version 0 of your go-to-market machine, where you build an audience, offer them a lead magnet, build a mailing list with those people and make sure that you validate the problem. And by the time you build the product, you actually know you can go to them and say, hey, the product's ready. Do you want to sign up and give it a try? And then you want to build a product, and specifically for Micro SaaS, you want to make sure that it's self-service with a free trial, charging at least $30 a month, and has a single player mode. That'll ensure that you can actually monetize it and people will try it and they'll value it, and all those things start to come into play. So now you know the 3 principles that I follow. And the example that I use for my own Micro SaaS business that runs right now and just is profitable on its own without putting any effort. So now you know the 3 principles to build your Micro SaaS company. Now, what you may not know is, TK, how do I actually hone in on my idea? What are the key ideas? How do I develop my idea? What are the niche markets that I can go after that has a specific task? How do I know if I'm solving an urgent and important problem? You might be wondering, how do I build this version 0 of my go-to-market machine where I build an audience or post content and generate leads with a lead magnet? And how do I know how to structure my product so that people are actually signing up for it and paying for it? How do I figure out my pricing? How do I create a demo video for my product so people actually try it out from the website? So if you're grappling with these questions, this is why I created my SaaS Launch Challenge. My SaaS Launch Challenge is a self-directed, step-by-step course that teaches you my MGP framework, which is what I just showed you. MGP meaning market. How do you actually develop the market thesis and test out whether you're solving an urgent, important problem? Your go-to-market, how do you build out this little mini funnel so you can actually generate leads? And then finally, your product. How do you build a 10x product so that you can actually serve the needs of the market? How do you create the core loop, and how do you structure the pricing and the demo and all those pieces? It is an incredible course. We've had, at this point, over 250 founders go through it. We've gotten rave reviews and testimonials. So if you want to actually do my SaaS Launch Challenge so you can actually hone in on your SaaS idea and make sure you don't waste months building the wrong product, you can actually validate it and then launch it, just go to tkkader.com/challenge. tkkader.com/challenge. It's an incredible course. I highly recommend it. And the reason we run it is because there's so many people wanting to build these Micro SaaS companies, and we want to make sure you have the resources and you don't make the mistakes that I did. And the coolest part about this is, after my Tout App journey, I created this course. And then when I got into actually creating my next generation of SaaS companies for Sunday, for Instant, for Megaphone, I followed this course again and the principles inside of it to actually get to product market fit and to initial revenue. So it is an incredible course. So just go to tkkader.com/challenge. This is specifically for pre-founders, for founders who are actually honing in on their idea and they want to validate their idea before they waste months building the wrong product. So just go to tkkader.com/challenge. Also, if you got value from this episode, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And so do we. We put a lot of love, put a lot of research, put a lot of care in these videos so you get actionable strategies. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics on how to start, grow, scale, and exit SaaS companies. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. Also, if you have a fellow potential founder or team member, if you're part of a Slack group or WhatsApp group with other aspiring entrepreneurs that want to get into Micro SaaS businesses, please share this video with them. It'll just mean the world to us. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the SaaS Launch Challenge for pre-founders or on the next episode. Either way, I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.